So here we are looking at our homework assignment over circumference and area of circles. For area, I'm going to use the formula pi r squared. And for circumference, which would be down here, I have two formulas. I'm going to use C equals 2 pi r or C equals pi times the diameter, depending on what my problem gives me. Remember, if I've just replaced the D with the 2r using substitution to come up with this formula, so that's why those are both equivalent. Okay, so looking at number one, I'm simply just plugging this into my formula, and I am using for the pi button, instead of using the pi button, I'm using 3.14. So number one, A equals 3.14 times 12 squared. I'm going to continue to simplify this. 3.14 times my 12 squared becomes 144. That's 12 times 12. And then I'm going to plug this into my calculator. So when I plug this into my calculator, I get 452.16. Remember, we are rounding to 2 decimal places, and area should be in inches squared. Our units are squared for area. Okay? I'm going to look at number 4. We're doing the same thing. Area equals pi times r squared. So I'm plugging in 3.14 for pi. My radius, it looks like, is 11. That's squared. 3.14 times 11 times 11 is 121. And then I'm also going to plug this into my calculator, 3.14 times 121, and I get out 379.94 centimeters squared. So now I'm looking at problems 5 through 8. We're going to be using the same formula as above, so area equals pi r squared, but this time it just doesn't give us the picture. We just plug in the radius. So I have A equals 3.14 times 2.6 squared. When I do 2.6 times 2.6, I have 3.14 times 6.76, and I get out 21.2264. However, I am rounding to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to underline my 2, and I'm going to look to the right of it, and I have a 6, because this 2 right here is to my 100th place, which is what I want to round to. So I look to the right of it. If it's 5 or more, I'm going to add 1 more. If it was 4 or less, I'd let it rest. So in this case, my area equals 21.23 inches squared. That's my final answer there. And now I'm going to move on down here to finding the circumference. So area, again, you're just simply plugging it into that formula. Remember, your units are squared. And circumference, we're going to do the same thing with our formulas. If I look at 9 and 10, I'm going to use this formula here because it gives me just the radius, not the diameter. So C equals 2. I'm using 3.14 for pi, and then times my 8. When I type that in my calculator, I get 2 times I get 50.24, and this is just miles. Our units are just that, because remember, circumference is like the perimeter. I'm only multiplying. Really, technically, my 8 is the only one with a unit of miles on it. Okay. Same thing for 10, simply plugging in to our formula. Go to the back. Remember to skip 17 through 27, and I'm going to look at problem number 14. Still using that formula, C equals 2 pi r, and I'm just plugging in for the r, 11.1. So I have C equals 2 times 3.14 times 11.1. and I get C equals 69.708. Remember, I want to go to 2 decimal places, so I'm going to underline my 0, look to the right of it, 5 or more. I'm going to add one more. In this case, it's an 8. So I have, my final answer should be C equals 69.71 feet.